I'm Raquel from Genially, the digital tool that allows us to create interactive learning materials to make teaching easier and learning more memorable for your students. Welcome to this webinar, where we are going to be looking at how interactive visual communication can be our ally in the context of remote learning, as well as in-person or blended teaching and training. I would like to welcome Annelies today from Wooclap. Wooclap is the online tool that allows us to create interactive questions that will keep our students engaged and participating in our lessons. Wooclap has already earned the trust of 300,000 teachers worldwide and is used in some of the most prestigious upper education institutions in the world. So I think that we are going to start our webinar with Wooclap. Is that right, Annelies?
Yes, exactly, Raquel. Thank you for this nice introduction. And hi, everyone. So let's get started with some Wooclap questions first. So I will share my screen with you. And here they are. So please connect yourselves with the use of the QR code that you see presented on the screen, or connect yourselves through wooclap.com/genialclap, and we are good to go. So what I would like to hear is where you guys are from, because I love to know who I'm talking to, and I see that Brussels is represented. I see Canada, Mexico. Hi there, Italy. Amazing. Greece, Turkey, Ecuador, Pennsylvania. Hi, London and Rome. We see an amazing word cloud going on here, guys. Hi, Malaysia, Poland, France, Brazil. Okay, let's close this voting, because I think that we have a lovely word cloud going on. So seeing, okay, Brussels in the middle. Wooclap is from Brussels, but seeing Italy, Brazil, amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Let's go to another ice-breaking question. And what I would like to know from you, my dear audience, is where do you teach? Are you teaching at a K-12 institution? Are you teaching at a higher education institution or others? All right. So we see that we have more or less 50, 60 of the 82 people connected answering right now. Let's get that up to the full total. Let's try to get that up to the full total. Nearly there. All right, we're nearly there. But let's close voting. We're almost at 70. We're at 70, 73. Okay, well, this is amazing. Thank you for all of your responses. And back to you, Raquel.
Thank you, Annelies. I would like to, first of all, thank you for being here with us today, and thank also everyone that is watching live or recorded. I hope that you really enjoyed the session, and I would like to remind you to click like if you like our video, and to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it already, to keep up to date with our webinars and much more awesome content. So we are going to go ahead with the webinar. So I'm going to share my screen. You can see my Genially. Okay, so let's get on it. And you have to bear with me so that we go to the very beginning. Wonderful. So as you can see, we are going to be focusing on interactivity and how we were saying before, in interactive visual communication. So today we are going to be looking at what is interactive learning, the benefits of using interactive visual communication in class, what is interactivity useful for. Also, we are going to be practical ways of applying interactivity in the classroom, and we are going to have a demo with Wooclap and Genially. And finally, we have a few gifts for those of you that are watching, and we will tell you more at the end. So we are going to go ahead and talk about interactive learning. So what do we consider success when it comes to learning? No matter what your current situation in the classroom is, whether you teach online, in person, or follow the blended approach, education and learning go hand to hand. A lesson is a lesson regardless of its location, and it always involves an exchange of information, communication, and an active interaction between teachers and students. So communication is therefore, at the heart of the learning process. If we think in distance learning, communication and interaction become even more relevant because they will determine successful learning outcomes. For this reason, visual communication and interactive learning are key to help you achieve those learning goals and engage your students. Why? What do we mean by interactive learning? So choosing an interactive learning strategy will allow us to implement creative and innovative ways to connect ideas. Education trends combined with technology can help us incorporate rich interactive experiences in our daily teaching and leave all routines behind. Educators will bring learning materials to life using interactivity, making the classes fun and engaging while increasing the participation rate among students. Lessons are presented in a new, interesting way, and students are motivated and absorb the information better. This results in teachers having more time to give students the personalized attention they deserve. So I'm going to how interactivity can play an important role in the classroom.
Yes, of course, Raquel. Let's take a look at the benefits of using interactivity inside the classroom, and I will go over 5 reasons why interactivity adds value to your work as a teacher. So firstly, increase independence. So thanks to interactivity, information becomes easier to understand and to process. So we take teaching to the next level by distributing information in interactive layers to break it down for students. This way, students can choose how they'd like to explore the information we present with them. And this helps increase student motivation to learn as well as their autonomy and participation both in and outside the classroom. A second key point is it creates new pathways for learning. So regardless of your teaching style, interactivity allows us to break the structure of more classic structures and lines, strengthen visual communication to strengthen your message, actually. So we learn the language of visuals intuitively, and visual communication cuts through the noise. Making your visual elements interactive will help to ensure that the students effective in communicating, what you want to, and creating incredible learning experiences. And let's go to the third point, engaging your students. Create an immersive environment where your message can captivate its audience. Do you want your students to play an active role in their learning? Would you like them to take the time to fully digest what they learned? Interactivity is the answer to that. So by adding elements such as quizzes to your lessons, we can make reading information more interesting and stimulating for students. A fourth point is, of course, making information memorable. So making our learning materials memorable and significant is actually easier than you think. Interactive environments don't just engage students in the moment, but achieve a lasting impact. Our students can browse through our material, and that virtual exploration makes it easier to remember concepts over a longer period of time. And the fifth and last point, Teach as you always have and watch students learn better than ever. Digital tools allow you to create interactive spaces, which you can insert all your favorite tools into enriched in-person, online, and blended lessons. So we can, for example, create an interactive test with Wooclap and insert it into any Genially we'd like. So once the Genially creation is ready, we can share it via our favorite LMS system, whether it be Moodle, Canvas, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, or any other one. So this allows us to harness the combined power of all of our favorite tools, allowing us to create custom reports of our students' development throughout the year. So in other words, with interactivity, we can create communication experiences that help us connect in any space and that presents information in its context, maximizing memorization, critical thinking, and creativity. So this, in turn, increases participation, customized learning, and class motivation. All right, so are you ready to see some real life cases? I guess that Raquel will tell us all about them. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Elise. So yeah, we are going to be looking at what interactivity is useful for. We have some, as we were saying, some real case scenarios. Sometimes, you know, it can be hard to communicate successfully with our students, especially when we have had to adapt a model or blended or mixed learning when we are used to teaching in person. So we have already seen why it's a good idea to apply interactivity in this situation. So we are going to look at some real case scenarios of interactivity in the classroom that can help us with our day-to-day work as instructors. Interactive tools are useful as in personalized learning. In some cases, we can use them to evaluate the previous knowledge our students have in the materials of a new unit. In this case, we are going to have a look at this quiz that checks math knowledge. So we could use this quiz previous to a lesson or previous to a topic to evaluate that knowledge. Additionally, we could use a Wooclap to embed a short self-correcting quiz that can be completed during lessons or beforehand. And all of these activities can help us to identify the most frequent misconceptions that students may have and then address them accordingly, giving our students a personalized experience. We are going to see also how interactivity can help us to strengthen concepts. Well, one of the situations we could use it for is maybe ending a lesson with a game-based activity. In the example that we are going to show you, we have proposed an activity to check comprehension with an interactive quiz where our students must locate each body part, either using a phone, a computer, or a tablet to solve it. This way, on top of obtaining valuable information for our own use about how much our students have understood of our lesson, we can also engage our students with an activity that in other formats may seem a little bit less engaging and therefore be less effective. Lastly, we are going to see how interactivity can be useful to develop emotional intelligence. So if we want to go beyond the curriculum content, we can introduce the use of interactive tools to help us understand how our students are managing their emotions. Changes in the routine, and we know quite a bit about that in the last few months, being isolated from the peers can have a negative impact in the life of the students. That's why it is so important to design activities that can help us keep track of our students' emotional health. In this example, we are sharing an infographic that has got 15 principles on how to raise and educate happy children. This is by Maria Montessori, as you can see. This could be an excellent resource to share with parents and other teachers. And as well as this, we could also embed a Wooclap where students can be prompted to share how are they feeling. This type of exercise relies on visual communication to get the conversation on emotions started and developed a new pathway for the exploration of emotional intelligence. As you can see, the integration of interactive digital tools can help us improve our flow of communication. and obtain information about how well our students understand the material in real time. Now, how can we get the most out of this? In other words, how can we apply interactive visual communication in our class? And Liz is going to show us how.
Thank you, Raquel. So now we're going to present you with 2 tools that allow you to take interactive visual communication with your audience in your day-to-day activities. So we'll look at how to apply interactivity through the combined power of Genially and Wooclap. So at first, Wooclap. What's Wooclap? It's an online platform for creating interactive questions. If we use this tool with different classroom strategies, it really can help engage your students during online and in-person lessons. The tool is also very simple, interactive, and can be made part of a teacher's toolbox as they insert questions into their presentations and other Genially creations, as we will see next. These quick surveys and quizzes help to keep your students' attention in class and check to make sure they've understood the material that you've covered, and of course, increase their participation during class. Genially, on the other hand, and you already know about Genially, the leading platform for the creation of interactive content that brings your lessons to life and allows anyone to create stunning content that's interactive and animated. So I'm sure that you want to learn how these 2 awesome tools work together for effective communication that's visual and interactive, right? So to show you, we couldn't come up with any better way than just to show you through interaction. So we're inviting you to work with us collaboratively on a brainstorm activity. So first, we're going to create a space for your ideas, and I'll go back to sharing my screen so you can follow the steps I'll show within the Wooclap interface. All right. So here I am on my Wooclap interface. You see that I have different files where my events are set up, and I'm going to create a new event. I'm finding myself into this interface on the Vote tab. You can see that you can change the name of your event or even change the code. And we have a range of multiple dynamic types of questions that we can choose from, ranging from multiple choice, finding an image, word clouds, as we've experienced throughout our ice-breaking sessions, and going through brainstorming, script concordance testing, etc. So let's take the brainstorming one, and let's create a brainstorming here. So what I would love to know is the following question that I'd like to pose to you. How would you use interactivity in your classes? And then, of course, you can define different categories. Now I'm just going to set the question again. And I'd like to have the likes on answers, for example, so you can enable it or disable it. So let's save this one. And you'll see that the question has been created and is visual here. And now, of course, going to some extra settings where you can see you can add presentations, but what I'd like to do is go to another team and trying to get my light cyan team because I love working with this one. I can adjust the answers by web and different other settings that you can choose from. And I'm going to save this one. All right. So then I'm coming back into this interface, and next we will create an interactive environment where you can see your responses in a given context, and this will help us keep all your instructional materials in the same place. So this way we can create a didactic unit that includes a space where you can add complementary or optional materials along with the official unit material and a self-test, all in the same place. So without needing to send dozens of links to your students. And Raquel will tell you more about that part.
Well, thank you so much, Liz. So we are coming back to our Genially. As you were saying, just using tools like Wooclap and inserting them in Genially can help us to keep all our daily instructional materials in the same place, which is much easier than having them with different links, as you were just saying. So what we are going to do now, just go ahead and go directly to Genially. Once you've registered in Genially for free and you've logged into your account, you will head up to this creation panel. As you know, we have 12 categories of templates to choose from. We are going to choose one, an infographic, a horizontal infographic, which is, I'm going to use a particular template called Healthy Habits. Instead of looking for it directly on the category, I'm going to do a search in the search box. There we go. And before heading to the editor, we can check the template to ensure what is the interaction, the interactivity that it has, and the animations before we decide to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and have a look. I can see that it's got windows in each one of the points, which I think is pretty useful. So as I said, I'm going to decide to use this template. If we were using a template with more than one page, this is the point where we will be asked which pages do we want to use, so that we don't have to select all of them. We can pick and choose which ones are the most effective for our message. So the first thing we should be doing is to name our Genially. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got a document where I have saved all the information that I need, and it's something that I recommend doing, which is before we start editing Genially, just preparing all information beforehand. So you see that I can copy and paste the title of my Genially. That is going to help us to find the editor. So if I name as a default all my Geniallys, then it's much more easier for me to organize. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete or erase those items that come as the default with my template, but I'm not going to be using. So in this case, I'm going to select all the icons of the social media, social networks, and I'm going to delete them. That is pretty easy. I just can press the back button or just click on the bin in the top left corner. And in this case, I'm going to also delete the last point, because we talk about 3 points. We've been talking about 4 in this Genially. Excellent. I can now, if I want to, select all the elements and center them so that it looks a bit more attractive. And once this is ready, I'm going to start adding my information and adding my text. The only thing I need to do is just click on it, highlight the text that is there, and start writing. If I wanted to, I could copy and paste, as you've seen me doing with the title. So in this case, bear with me. I'm going to type I should use. Oops. As you see, the title in the second line, the box is too small. I could sort this out in a couple of ways. First of all, I could make the box bigger, but you can see that it's still a bit too tight for the canvas. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change the size of my font to make it so that it fits better. And lastly, I'm going to edit the text in the last text box. And now I'm going to move the text box so that it fits a bit nicely with the rest of my content. Same thing we've done before with the points. I'm going to center it. And now what I'm going to do is edit the points one on one so that it matches the information that I want to give. As I was saying, I do have all my information in another document that you cannot see, but I'm going to be copying and pasting to make it quicker. As you see, it's pretty easy. And then what I'm going to do is change the interactivity in each one of the points. By clicking on the element, the components that will take me to interactivity, animation, etc. will appear. So I'm going to click on the hand that is pressing a button to get to my window. Because I'm not going to use any of this format, I'm just going to delete it on using the bin on the corner. And I'm going to insert my title, change the size, and center it. Now I can insert my text. Same thing. I'm going to change the size so that it matches the look I want to give to my creation. And lastly, I'm going to insert another image. To insert an image on my window, I can do it either uploading it from my device, or I can just add a URL. So I'm going to do so, clicking on the image box at the top, selecting, inserting by URL, and just pasting directly the URL of the image that I want to use. I would recommend to wait until the image loads completely to ensure that it's done as we want it. We can change the size then and save it. I'm going to do the same in my other 2 points. So remember we said we could use interactivity to personalize learning. My second point would be to reinforce concepts. And again, I'm going to add my interactivity to this window. These windows allow us not only to add images and text, but also videos, tables, etc. So it will allow me to add all the content that I need to communicate effectively with my students and with my audience. So I'm going to insert my text, as we were saying before, easily, and a picture to complete this box. All these images belong to a bank of images that are copyright free. We can also add images to our canvas directly from some of those bank of images as well. That will be my second window, and I'm going to do the very third and last one in this way. Which you remember we're talking about developing our students' emotional intelligence. I'm going to make the box slightly bigger so that it's all on the same line. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to add my text and image. That's how easy it is to introduce this information that will look, it will be easy for our students to access, and it will look fantastic on our creation. There we go. So now we have our three points that we were talking about before: personalized learning, reinforce concepts, and develop student emotional intelligence. So what are we going to do with our fourth one? We are going to use the fourth to insert the Wooclap creation that Annelise was showing us how to make. And to do that, we are going to add the question. How would you use it? Perfect. So we have everything that we need on our first page for the moment. And we would like to insert the Wooclap in this creation as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to add an empty page. Easily by clicking on the Add Page button, we are going to select a blank page. And this is going to appear second to my main page. What we want to do is to change the background color so that our Wooclap creation blends seamlessly with the background. I'm going to choose a color using the hex code, which I have already selected and kept. And you will see that when I insert my code here, my canvas changes color to a slightly darker gray. And finally, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert the code for our Wooclap. This is very easy to do. I just need to extract the iframe code, the HTML code from Wooclap. And you'll see in the menu insert, there is 3 tabs. I'm going to choose the last one. And I'm going just to paste the code in the box provided. Once I insert it, the Wooclap will appear directly on my creation, on my Genially. I'm going to increase its size so that we can see it properly. There we go. And can you see how the color really matches the color of the canvas so that it looks wonderful? The last thing I would like to do is, now that I have my Wooclap inserted, is I want to make sure that the interactivity for number 4, the interactivity for number 4 actually takes me to page 2. Let me write the question again. Beautiful. This time, instead of opening the window and adding information here, what I'm going to do is change the interactivity from the menu. I'm going to select Go to Page, and I'm going to send create a link from that button to the page where I want my audience to go. So I'm going to save it. Now I've got a button that will take me to page number 2, and I would like to add a button that takes me the other way around. So to do that, I'm going to reuse this tiny button on the top, which I left there on purpose. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to bring it to page 2. I'm going to paste it here. And because I feel the eye may not be appropriate, I'm going to replace it for another button that shows a little bit better what the action of the button is. So I'm going to select the back arrow. I'm going to change the interactivity so that it takes me back to the first page, and this is already done. So what we are going to do, let's have a look at the preview. I have here the Wooclap embedded, and also my button that will take me to the first page where I can click in each one of the options to access the information that we've been talking about. So what I would like us to do now, I think I'm going to share this so that you can actually interact with the creation. I'm going to present my screen so that you can all, as we've done before with the first questions that Annelise was showing us, you can participate. Remember that the question is, how would you use interactivity during your classes? So if you want to use this code, which is also going to be shared with you in the chat, and you can come and tell us how would you use interactivity during your lessons in the context of education? Okay, I don't know if the code has been shared, if people can see it in the chat, or you can actually copy it directly from the screen. Okay, fantastic. We have the first answers here. Revision before tests and exams, polls, formative assessment, using interactive material. Fantastic. This is a clear example of how we can have our content in our first page and then our interactive questions in the second page of our creation, so that we can have everything on the same spot. Our students can, we can present our materials and our content directly and in an easy, really interactive way. It's wonderful. So we have engaged with the students through messages. That's fantastic. Understanding concepts. Well done. Measure student engagement, quizzes, brainstorming. There's lots and lots of really interesting suggestions here. Fantastic. We have a comment. I love this, and I would like to use it. I'm going to start to use it to develop engagement and for assessment. Well done. Lovely, lovely use of the Wooclap inserted in Genially. Okay, so I think we are going to stop the interaction with the audience here. I hope that you have liked this webinar, where we've seen how interactive visual communication can be our ally or can help us with remote learning and online and in-person training sessions. Wooclap is giving you a wonderful gift. So there is a free trial period for those watching us live. So if you want to being able to access this gift, we are going to pass a form in the chat. For those of you that are here as audience for our webinar and would like to get a free trial period of Wooclap.
For about 6 months, to be precise.
That's wonderful. Alice, would you like to tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course. Please feel free to subscribe yourself, and we are always happy to support you through the pedagogical innovation that's needed throughout your institutions. And this nice piloting, this trial of 6 months can definitely help you to see and evaluate if Wooclap can be one of those solutions that you'll use for the next end of the academic year or the next ones to commence, of course.
That's wonderful. Fantastic. So as always, remember to fill up the form, and we are here to answer any questions in a minute. Also, as always, we are also giving one EduPro plan to the winner of prize draw amongst the people that have signed up for the webinar. So we will get in touch with the winner by email. In the chat, if you haven't done so, you will find the link to participate if you haven't signed up already. So make sure that you do that if you have attended the webinar and you haven't signed in still. And lastly, if you don't win, we still have a discount code for those of you that still don't have a premium plan. So it is a 20% off your premium plan, and it's going to be active for the next few days. So don't miss the opportunity to join Genially and to join Wooclap and being able to create wonderful interactive materials as you have seen us doing today. I don't know if there's any questions. I believe that our colleagues have been very actively answering them in the chat. If we don't have anything else, I would like to thank everyone, especially thanks to Annelies and Wooclap for being here.
Thank you also, Raquel. This was an amazing session.
Thank you. And if you liked our webinar, please give it a like in YouTube. And if you haven't done so, remember to subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our webinars and all our awesome resources. Thank you so much for being here.